Are you looking into trying to make money with DoorDash? We're gonna talk about that here real quick. So DoorDash. Do you have a car, for one, or access to the car? Because you're gonna need it, or I guess you could be one of those biker ones. Either one's fine. Or I don't know. If there's another option, then that's cool. But I mean, I live in an area where it would make absolutely no sense for me to DoorDash from a bike. I also don't own a bike, I own a car. Specifically, I own a Toyota Prius, which is a pretty ideal car to do with DoorDash because of its city driving capabilities. I don't even know how much it makes, but I average probably like in the wintertime somewhere around 40 miles per gallon, but in the summer I was closer to 50 miles per gallon on a tank, which was really nice. But we're currently in the winter months, and that's not ideal situation. So let's do a little bit of that. Some of my old searches here are for previous videos, or in the case of this, I was just curious to hear about a prime minister of Australia who disappeared from swimming in the ocean in Australia. Okay, let's do a Google search. How to make money door dashing. Let's talk about some of the things. Best referral driver, which is the top result. Let's see if, from what I've learned, door dashing, if that equals, if I can agree with some of this list. How to make more money. Okay, let's skip some of this because some of this stuff is stuff that you're just going to, if you do start, um, you can you'll probably learn that along the way. I mean, the large majority of it's pretty simple. How to boost your earnings. Okay, dash during the busy hours in the busy areas. Okay, in the app when you DoorDash, there is a map of the. Okay, sorry, I have a couple of dogs, and they just like to bark at random things because one of them is a Pomeranian, and he's very vocal. Hey guys, can we not bark at just random stuff? Would you like to just like sit down and chill for a minute while I make a YouTube video on this stuff? I'm not sure if I'm cutting that out of this video because as of right now, I don't make money on this, and I'm just doing this with time. And if this channel gets pretty big, then I'll probably look into it. Guys. Okay, back to it. Yeah, so there's going to be a map, and it's going to have kind of like these sections of it. Generally, it's like a few cities worth of area. I mean, depending on how close those cities are. If it's kind of in a bigger city, where like let's say Kansas City, for example, or actually no, I don't. I've been to Oklahoma City. Okay, Oklahoma City. We'll use that because it's kind of like a big city that comes out of nowhere in Oklahoma. That's probably all one big area, but in my area, I live in the Big Valley area of Utah, so like it's just a bunch of sections all up in one area. Each area, depending on how busy that is, it'll either be grayed out on your map, meaning that it's not busy there and you can't just immediately DoorDash there. If it's red, you can DoorDash there. Sometimes there'll be a little icon on it telling you that you get extra money for doing it because it's that busy. My area generally doesn't get super busy. I mean, it's pretty consistently red, but the bonuses that you get for doing it during certain times are generally only available during like dinner rushes. But the large majority of the time, it's just red. Okay, so let's read a little bit about this. Timing is really important. That's kind of what I was just saying. Yeah, so you want to know the best time to DoorDash. So kind of if you're gonna start, you're definitely not going to be like the greatest DoorDasher when you first start. Um, Unless you know your city very well and you can kind of like think ahead of what would help a bit. So yeah, these pretty like I mean, dinner time is always around dinner time, lunchtime's always around lunchtime, so it's just kind of like it's pretty good to guess that you should probably just go around the busy times. Early scheduling, this is in reference to if your area is generally gray and they accept you to be a dasher in your area, you will want to schedule when you're going to go out because y- if your area is not busy, you can't. You have to schedule it. And the scheduling hours kind of go based off of who's also scheduled. So the earlier the better on the time that you're going to be allotted for. Um, I generally don't schedule because my area is pretty consistently busy and I don't really know my availability because I just do it on the side. I don't do it for a main income. So I just do Dash Now, which is when it's pretty busy. Great reviews, great earnings. In terms of great reviews, people don't generally review people unless they go above and beyond. If you just kind of drop it off like you're supposed to, then I mean you'll probably get. Some people give you like stars, but I mean I haven't really come across anybody who I delivered something and had them give me a negative review because I mean you just follow the instructions and you're good to go. Get more deliveries per hours. Okay, this is kind of the more. This is kind of a complicated thing. And they're talking about weather changes and stuff like that. Yeah, I mean, if you're in an area where your weather can change, yeah, that's something for you to think about. But more deliveries per hours. In terms of trying to get the most out of your mileage, there's a few things you can do. Like, is the order that's coming in going to be a certain amount of money that you feel like you should go for? Um, Sometimes certain deliveries, if on the delivery thing, it'll tell you how far you'd have to travel. And the further you have to travel, the more you should get tipped. Should, but I mean, not many people like to follow the tipping as well as they probably should when they live further away. Because I mean, that's their fault. They're just not going to get their order as quick because if you can get something over $10 for your effort, then definitely try not to have it be something that's going to take you half an hour to do, or else you're just losing money basically doing that. A few places that I would recommend you trying to get orders from would be like McDonald's because people actually tip fairly well with McDonald's. Another advantage of McDonald's is there's so many of them that the area that McDonald's will deliver to is smaller than most restaurants. So you'll get a good amount of money and you'll deliver it fast. And then you can go do the next one. A few days ago, I DoorDashed and I literally had 3 McDonald's orders in a row, and I got like almost $20 in like 30 something minutes. So like if you can stick around to McDonald's, that should be pretty helpful to you. Chick-fil-A people also give you more tip and you get a good amount of wage for doing it, but they're not as common in my area as they could be in other people's areas, so you have to drive a little bit further. A few places to avoid. There's not really a ton of them. I would try to avoid something like a kind of a restaurant that favors low-priced items and isn't very wide range because or like if they have a big delivery area and they generally try to keep costs low, then that's gonna attract people who want to spend less, and you're not gonna get as big of a tip. I mean, that's just kind of how that goes. Let's keep it rolling here. Incentives and promotions. That's what I talked about, where you can get like extra money. So like that would be the peak pay. I haven't really gotten any challenges. Driving rewards and stuff like that would kind of be like benefits and stuff like that, I think. Um, you want your acceptance rate. Yeah, I mean, if you're going to go for rewards, you want to follow these. Sometimes certain people will say your acceptance rate doesn't matter. Mine's somewhere around 70%. I do it on the side, and it's not my main source of income. So if an order's like, yeah, you'll spend 20 something minutes delivering something for $3, then I'm not going to do it. So I'll get rid of it. And for some reason, in certain areas where I can DoorDash, those pop up a lot. So that's why my acceptance rate is pretty far down. Also, in my area, the busy times, for some reason, there's like a weird lag time where they're like, oh, it'll be busy up until 3, and then you get to 3 o'clock, and you're like, okay, well, I mean, it seems like it's probably still busy, or at least ramping up to the dinner time, and I could probably go till 6, and it's like, well, you're out of luck, so you got to go to another area, and then you go to that area, and like you're in terms of acceptance rate, it's kind of hard bouncing around certain places when you know you have to go somewhere else. 100 completed deliveries, that just means that you did it really good, or like you just did it fairly consistently, and all this other stuff. Tracking your mileage, I don't really track my mileage. I just try to keep, if I'm getting an order, I try to have the number be fairly small, because that means I can get it done quick, but also try to get some good money. I mean, you can be a little bit picky, but if you're going to do it full time, you probably shouldn't be super, super picky, because that could affect your privileges here and everything. New driver guarantee. I think at the beginning, when you start, you are guaranteed a certain amount of money for a certain amount of miles or something like that. And it really helps you try to do that. Yeah, you can do other companies as well. If like, say like DoorDash seems like it's not quite as popular, check out Postmates or Uber Eats. My cousin does DoorDash full time. Well, I mean, he's pulled it back now, and he does some other stuff on the side. But he tried Uber Eats, and he said Uber Eats will, for some reason, seems like it's more consistent orders, but DoorDash during the weekends is like more like higher paying, I think is what he said, but I don't know. Yeah, try to keep up your acceptance rate. Some people on YouTube I've seen with really, really low ratings. I mean, yeah, they can be picky, but I'm like, if they're doing that full time, then they gotta have something else. Make extra money. Yeah, that's what I do. It's a good way to make money. Just, yeah. I mean, overall, this is a pretty accurate article on what to expect if you're gonna DoorDash. From somebody who does it. I mean, I don't do it super, super often. Just when I'm like, oh, it would be nice to have a little bit of extra spending money, then I'll just go DoorDash. One thing that they don't really talk about very often in things that I would like to bring up, though, is if you're in an area where you're driving a further distance, say there's like an area where all the restaurants are, and then there's like a big suburb population outside it. The people from the suburbs are going to want food through DoorDash. So you'll be in the main area where all the food is. You'll take it out to them and say that's a 10-minute drive out to their house. Then you have a 10-minute drive back before you'll get an order. So there is some downtime, which doesn't help with earnings. And people don't really bring that up very often. So, say you're going to go out and you're like, oh, I'll just do it for 5 hours. You'll get 3 hours and something worth amount of active ordering, of like getting orders and going and delivering and everything and actually getting money. But then you could get like one time I had I mean, it's not always the same. I might show a picture of the last time I did it. Just to show you kind of like what to expect in terms of what I'm talking about now. But yeah, like you can go like a good span of time with no orders because you just have delivered something so far away from the restaurants that you're not going to get orders until you get back. And by the time you get back, you could get something that pops up that's like, yeah, take $3 to do the exact same thing that you just did, and you're like, obviously, I'm not going to do that because that wasted way too much time. So, just a few things that you're going to kind of learn as you go is trying to maximize your earning potential. And I mean, it's probably going to be different in each area. So, like, if you're in a city, um, you'll probably get orders quick. You'll probably have a little bit of a walk for things. Um, Another quick thing is apartments suck because you go to an apartment and no apartment that I've ever been to I feel is labeled in a way that makes perfect sense. There was one that the buildings were letters and the letter sort that for like that area for the buildings didn't make any sense. Like it would have like A right next to D, but then like it would have like B next to G, and you're like, okay, well, I mean, you're all scrambled up. Like you should just go in a line so it would be easier for me to figure out which building I'm supposed to go to, and then you'd get to the building of that area, and the numbers were spiraled around the building. So I'm like, okay, well, now I have to look at all of the rooms that are above it to kind of be like, okay, is the number I need going to be on the other side of the building? Like, what side of the building is it going to be on? Those suck. Apartments suck. Anyway, that's basically all I was going to talk about. I might cut out some of it because this video seems like it's a little long, and I don't know if everybody ended up watching it for this long. But anyway, if you have any questions from somebody who DoorDashes on the side every now and then, I would be happy to answer in the comments. If you have a problem with anything that I've said here, then I recommend you making a YouTube video to help others out with your experience as opposed to critiquing my experience, if that makes sense. Anyway, have a good rest of your day, and if you, yeah, I don't know what I was going to say there, but have a good day.